Hi Tim, welcome to Cloud Pandit. In this Azure Data Factory complex scenarios video series, so we will see some of the issues that we frequently get it in the real time. So how we can able to resolve such type of issues in the Azure Data Factory. So if you look at this particular video, we will see lot of things inside the Azure Data Factory which are not possible earlier. So now all those things are possible. How we can able to do each and everything I will be discussing. So you will learn lot of new things in this particular session. So just make sure you are watching this particular session till end so that you will not miss anything. Okay, so first thing is the problem statement here. If you see the user, like as a developer or user, I want to merge two columns, like for example first name and last name from a text file into a single column in an Azure SQL database. Okay, that is the first requirement. The requirement is source side you have a file with the first name last name in the CSV file. Those two things you want to merge it and load it into the full name column in the SQL database table. Normally this is not possible just by using the copy activity directly, right? So we have the some kind of a new feature which is available to do this. I'll just explain to you how you can able to achieve this. Okay, additionally, so we want to transform the gender column from the full word like male or female to a one letter representation. For example, so I have a CSV file. Within the same CSV file, I have first name, last name, gender, location, right? So a lot of other details I can have. So the first requirement, as we discussed, we need to merge first name and last name and load it into the single column in the Azure SQL database. The second requirement is I want to take a gender column. So from the gender column, male or female, right? So this particular male or female, I want to load it into the SQL database as a, if it is a male means M, if it is a female means F. These all transformations also, I want to just do it using a single copy activity. I am not using any data flows. I am not using anything else. I am just using a single copy activity to achieve this. Once we have done this using the single copy activity, the next thing that I want to do is whatever records I have read, whatever records I have copied into the target, everything, all the details, I want to take it from the copy activity, return to the my master pipeline. Because whatever pipeline this copy activity is used, this is within the child pipeline. So child pipeline, what it does, it to do the copy activity to copy the all the required details, whatever we discussed, first name, last name, merge it and load it into the full name column. Gender, wherever we have a male, load it as a M, wherever we have a female, load it as a F. So we can load it into the SQL database. Once we load it into the SQL database, we want to track the number of records read, written, from which data factory, which pipeline, what is the run ID, all these details we want to return to the master pipeline, so that master pipeline will collect all these things, and it basically what it does is it will log it into the log table. So how we can able to do, we will see completely practicals. So before we go and do the practicals from very scratch, let's see what exactly the requirement, right? So I'll explain to you, because understanding problem is very important before solving the problem. If you are not taking the requirements properly, so you will end up in developing or giving the wrong product to the customer, right? So that's why let's understand the requirement. See, this is my input data which is there in a CSV file. This particular data now I want to convert into like this. If you look at your full name, which is forming with the combination of first name and last name, Rama Krishna, it became the Ramakrishna. Sai Raj became the Sai Raj. Deepika Singh became Deepika Singh. Saraswati Devi became the Saraswati space Devi. Wherever we have a male, it became M. Wherever we have a male, it became M. Wherever we have a female, it is becoming FF. So these are the locations that I am keeping as it is. Okay, so this is the exact requirement. The source is CSV file, the target is database table. How we can able to achieve this? Let's quickly see. First thing is, it is not directly possible, right? So first, that's why we need to define a something called table type. Okay, how to create this particular table type is, first I'll create a table type, create type Cloud Pandit type as a table. So this is called a table type in the SQL. So what we are going to do is, this particular table type, once we define user defined table type, Okay, I am defining my own table type. Okay, so how we have integer type, varchar type, right? Like that, you can define your own type. So this is called a table type because this is a table I am creating. The data type is what? Table. So what is the type? Cloud Pandit type. This is the name of the data type, and it is of type table. Okay, so in this we have first name varchar of 256, last name, gender, location. There are 4 columns which is basically matching with the source data set. Remember, there are multiple choice questions that I'm going to ask based on these things. Remember, this particular table type should match the schema with the source data set. Okay, so with that I am going to create the table type. Next, I am creating a target table because target table should have the full name, gender, location. Full name should be a combination of first name, last name. Gender should be the first character which is in a uppercase. Okay, so gender I'll transform and location I'll be doing. So now whatever source data which is there in a CSV file, that I will be loading into this particular table type. Once I load it into the table type, from the table type, I want to load data into this particular final table. In order to load data from this table type to the final table, I have implemented one stored procedure which I will be using in the sync side of the copy activity. What is this? So normally create procedure name. So the parameter name, parameter of type you will define here. What is the type you will define? You will define normally string, varchar of 50. If it is integer, if it is a date time, something like that. But it is of type Cloud Pandit type. Why I am saying Cloud Pandit type? I have defined my own type, Cloud Pandit type. So this should not be changed. Cloud Pandit type data, whatever is there, that particular schema or nothing should be changed inside. That's why I'm saying read only variable, read only type it is. Okay, I'm restricting the access. Inside, if you see merge into the cust table, the target table is cust. So in order to load the data into the target table, I am loading the data into the target table by using the source table. SRC table is nothing but a Cloud Pandit type, the table which I have defined, right? The type Cloud Pandit type, I have defined the schema. I loaded all my CSV data into the Cloud Pandit type. From this particular Cloud Pandit type, all the values I'll be assigning to this SRC table, right? This is the parameter, stored procedure parameter, which gets the actual table name, the type name. So using that particular SRC table, okay, source table, what happens is, so I have the source first name, source last name, I have a source gender, I have a source location. Now what I'll be doing, I'm inserting into this customer table. So I hope everybody is aware merge statement, right? Merge into the merge target table using the source table based on the condition when matched update, when not matched insert, right? So this is the Cartesian product, meaning all the records will go for the updates, all the records will go for the unmatched as well. So I am not taking the updates, I'm just considering as unmatched, meaning I'll be loading them into the target table. So insert into the full name, gender, location. These are the columns from the customer table. So to load the data into the customer table, I am using the values of the Cloud Pandit type, table type. Okay, so in table type, I have a schema where I have a first name, last name, gender, location. So what I am doing here when I'm loading data into this cust table, first I am concatenating the first name space last name, and I'm taking the first letter of the male or female, and I left means what? Left side first character I am taking using the left function. Then I'm converting that into the uppercase. If it is a male, M should be cap like uppercase. If it is a female, F should be uppercase. Then I am using the source location. The location is going as it is into this location. Gender first character is going into the gender column in the cust table. First name, last name is going into the full name in the full name column. Okay. Now, so this is how we need to configure at the sync side. Sync side of the copy activity, we need to use this stored procedure in the data set. So this will select the Cloud Pandit type. This is the type. Okay, for this type, I will be passing the SRC table. SRC table is the actually, what is this? This is the stored procedure parameter. For that particular parameter, I am passing a table type is Cloud Pandit type. So that particular Cloud Pandit type is holding all my source data. Okay, so this is what we need to do. I'll just start from very scratch and I'll show you. So later what we are going to do is we are going to create a log table and return the all the logs. Let's say, as I mentioned, see, after copy activity, what I'll be doing is I'll be using a set variable activity to set all the output of the copy activity: records read, records written, pipeline run id, ADF name, pipeline name, all these things I'll set it. Once you set it into this particular set variable, what happens, these particular values we can able to use it in the main pipeline, or you can say parent pipeline or master pipeline. Okay, let's see how we can able to do those things. So we need to know what happens once these particular child values, if we return to the main pipeline, whoever is calling. Okay, this is a new feature, right? Return values. Once we return those values into the main pipeline, what it does is it uses the script activity to access all these parameter activity of output dot pipeline return value dot ADF name, pipeline run ID, records read, records written. All these things will be loaded into the pipeline logs table. So there are some complex scenarios also there, but the length, it will take 1 hour, 1.5 hours for me to explain those complex things. That's why I'm not taking that much complex scenarios. So I'm just explaining with very simple example how we can able to return the child pipeline now return values to the main pipeline, and how main pipeline can able to access this child return parameters or child return variables. Okay, so let's see now. Prerequisite before we go for the lab is we need to create a one linked service for source blob, one linked service for the database, and then we need to create two data sets. One is for the source blob, one is for the SQL database. Then we need to create one pipeline. We need to use copy activity, set variable, execute pipeline activity, script activity. These things we need to use. So before we go and discuss the summary questions, so let's complete this particular lab. Okay, so I'm here. First I log in into the portal.azure.com. I hope everybody aware. So just to go to cloudpandit@gmail.com. Okay, so first what we need the so source is blob storage. Let's create a blob storage. Okay, click create storage account. So I'll be creating here cloud pandit dev rg development resource group, and I'm creating a cloud pandit dev blob. Okay, cloud pandit dev blob. Just click review plus create. So as you know, so I'm discussing all of these things in my master program video series. You can go and watch if you want to know how to create storage account, what are the different types of blob types, etc. In depth of the storage account, each and everything we are discussing, okay, in that particular series. Next, so I want to create the my target. My target is what? Azure SQL database. My target is what? Azure SQL database. So I'll just go here, SQL database, go to SQL database, click create SQL database. Okay, so you can choose the same resource group which you have created, dev-rg. So database name, I'll say Cloud Pandit SQL DB. Okay, server name, click create new server. I'm creating Cloud Pandit SQL Server 0608, and I'm setting up SQL authentication. This is my username, this is my password. So with this name already somebody is using, so we can say 06082. Okay, then click OK. Once the server is ready, now come down. So this is for the development environment only. I'll go to little go up, compute plus storage. You can configure for development because it is too high cost, right? So basically I want to increase the capacity of my database. Standard budget, it is giving you 250 GB memory and 250 GB of size of the database, and DTUs, database throughput units, is 10. Okay, it will charge me 1156 rupees per month. Click review plus create, click create. Okay, we don't record anything in this database. So now I created a blob storage which is already ready. Database, I just deployment is started. It takes some 3-4 minutes to create. Meantime, we need third thing, that is called a Azure data factory. let's go and create the Azure Data Factory. Whether we are doing this particular lab in the Azure Data Factory or Synapse will not make any difference. So I can just go and create the Data Factory. Click create the Data Factory. Dev-RG Cloud Pandit. Okay, this is what ADF 06082. Okay, and then just click review plus create. So each of these surveys, what are the prerequisite to create, how to create, each and everything step by step. There are tutorials which are going on, and I am keep uploading in my Azure Data Factory Master Program video series. You can go and watch that particular session to understand. Okay, so now it takes some 3-4 minutes to create. Just let's wait for 3-4 minutes until these are available. Yeah, so if you look at this particular database, now it is deployed. Now let's go to resource. Okay, so click set server firewall. First thing we need to set server firewall. Here go to selected networks, come down, add your IPv4 address and allow Azure services. Allow Azure services means Data Factory, Databricks. Any Azure service wants to access this database, we are allowing. Okay, next. Now, so you can able to connect to this particular database directly here, query editor. You can click on query editor and you can just print your, you can just enter your username and password to connect. Okay, so without using any kind of connection, so you can directly execute all the SQL queries here. So otherwise, so one more thing what you can do is, if you see, if you have a Azure Data Studio or SSMS, you can also connect to those particular tools. In real time, we won't suggest to execute here because it's a small editor, right? It is difficult for us to do. So that's why I prefer to use a Azure Data Studio or SSMS. Now click here, click place. Now I'll be putting the server here. Okay, and SQL login. Let me enter my username, password. Okay, so database name. What is the database name? This is the database name. Copy this, put that particular database name here, click connect. Okay, now click new query. Fine. So it is not appeared here, right? So because there are a lot of servers already there, sometimes there will be issue, it will not connect. If it is not connected, if you want to connect once again, so what you can do is simply you can just click connect once again, clear list, whatever list you have already, you can just clear that list, put the database name, this is the server name, enter username, password, click connect. So now you will be able to see, click new query here. So once you click new query here, you can also expand this particular database servers. So you can able to see the number of tables and all those things. Okay, so here I can execute all of those. So if you see here, right, first we need to create a, as I mentioned, the source file. I'll show you the first source file, right? If you see real data, so it has the actual source data. This is the actual source data which I'm going to upload into the blob story. So target side, I need to create a table type, and then I need to create my target table. Then I need to create my stored procedure. Okay, let's say these are just a table type and table creation. These are straightforward. Let me create these two things. Let's paste this. First, let's create this. Okay, then you can create this, run this. So this particular target table also created. Now what we want to do, so this particular table is kind of a staging type. You can just, if you're not able to understand what is type, you can think of this as a staging table. You can you are loading data from staging table to the target table by just looking at this particular data. So using the merge statement. Okay, so here whatever required the changes that I need to do, whatever transformation I need to do, I'm doing here. This is the stored procedure. You can put the stored procedure here, start creating. Okay, once you're done those things, now finally I am also creating the pipeline log table. You can see pipeline log table contains ADF name, pipeline name, run ID, records read, records written, all those things. Okay, now click run. After that, You can also take up this particular insert into pipeline logs. So this is a, yeah, don't use this because this needs to be used within the activity. Okay, don't execute. So now we are good. We created log table. We created this particular merge functionality. Okay. Then we have a target table. We have a source type, Cloud Pandit type, all these things. Okay. Now what I'll do, step one is we need to upload our data into the source blob. So I'm going inside the source blob, go inside container, click container. Here you can say global. Okay. Under global, I'll be uploading my CSV file upload. Okay. Browse for files. So desktop real data.csv. So this real data.csv, instead of loading directly under global container, I want to create a logical folder. This you can say cust folder. Okay. This is the input side. Under global, under cust folder, I uploaded the real data.csv. This is source. So target side also we have required tables and all those things. The target tables we created, right click on the tables, refresh. If you expand the tables, you should be able to see the table which you have created. What is the target table that we created? The target table that we created is cust. This is the table which has 3 columns: full name, gender, location. So I think it is taking some time to refresh. Just wait. Yeah, now we can able to see, right? Cust table, which is our target table, and pipeline log, our log table, both are available. Now, whatever transformation we need to do, whatever return values we need to capture and put it in the log table. So everything we will see with the help of the Azure Data Factory. Let's open the Azure Data Factory Studio, launch Studio. So as we discussed, we need to create a 2 linked services. One is for the source blob storage. One is for the target SQL database. Let's go to manage tab. Okay, let's not waste any time. Let's quickly create a new linked service for the blob storage. Select blob, Azure blob storage, ls underscore blob. Okay, come down. This is a subscription. Storage account name is, if you remember, I created a dev blob. Okay, test connection. Connection successful, you can create it. Similarly, we also need to create a one more connection to the SQL database. Let's select SQL database. Let's give the ls underscore SQL db, ls underscore SQL db. Come down. Subscription is this. Server name is this. Database name is this. So as you know, this is not recommended to enter the user and password here. Instead, we put in the Azure keyword. We put it in the Azure keyword. Click create. Now we need to create a two source data sets. One source data set for blob, one data set for the SQL. Okay, let's go to the author tab. Create a pipeline. In the pipeline, I'll be using the copy data activity. Okay, let's see how to configure this copy activity. What is source? Just click new, and you can say this particular source is what? Source is basically a blob storage, right? So let's create a blob data set as a CSV file we have stored. DS for blob. This is the linked service. Browse it. Select global, cust. Select the real data.csv. Okay, click OK. Now sync side, if you come, go to sync. Create a sync data set that is for the SQL database. DS for SQL DB. This is the linked service. So table name, as I mentioned, don't select any table because we are not writing data directly into the target. Instead, we are using the write behavior is basically using the stored procedure. Okay, this is the stored procedure. So this particular stored procedure will basically access the data through this particular SRC table is the parameter, stored procedure parameter. this particular SRC table stored procedure will receive the data from the Cloud Pandit type. This is the table type. In this particular type, we will load the data from the source CSV file. For that, first we need to map the data from source CSV files to the Cloud Pandit type. For that, go to mappings, click import schema. Okay, click import schema. Yes, you can see first name, last name, gender, location, all these things are mapped to the target columns. These are not a final table columns. These are a Cloud Pandit type schema columns. Once we map those things from the Cloud Pandit type table, we will be merging the data into the cust table within this particular stored procedure. Okay, let's see till here whether it is working or not. So before I load this particular, before I run this particular pipeline, I'll just query the target data and I'll see select star from cust. So whether cust table is having any data or not, we will see. Do we have any data within the cust table? We will see full name, gender, location. We don't have any data. Now let's debug the data. So this particular copy activity succeeded. Let's come here and run this particular target table. Now you can see the expected output. So we are able to do the data transformations using the copy activity. Yes, we can also do the data transformation using the copy activity. Let's quickly discuss now, okay, the summary questions that we have. Okay, what is the main object of the user in this particular scenario? The main object of the user is merging columns from a text file in the Azure Data Factory. Yes, the answer B is correct. What does the user wants to achieve with the merge operations in the stored procedure? It is basically for the insert new records or update the existing ones based on a condition. That's why after multiple runs also, if you see the cust table still has the only still has how many columns, sorry, how many records the cust table is having. Cust table still is having only 4 records, because if it is a new records it will insert, if it is a old records it will be updating. So the right answer is C, insert new records or update the existing ones based on a condition. Next, how is the user advised to handle column merging in Azure Data Factory? So utilize schema mapping in a copy activity. Yes, using the schema mapping in copy activity. So option B is correct. What type of data structure is suggested for passing data to the stored procedure? Table valued parameter. What is that? Table valued parameter. The type is table valued parameter. Okay. So the fifth question and sixth question too we will answer now. What should the schema of the table type, Cloud Pandit type matches? Okay, so I told you the schema of this table type should match with the source data set. The answer B is correct. Next, sixth question. Which SQL statement is used to insert data into the target table when a match is not found during the merge operation? Yes, when not matched, then insert. We will be inserting the value when it is not matched. Okay. Similarly, in the stored procedure, how is the gender value transformed to a single letter by using the left function and the uppercase? The answer B is correct. What is the purpose of defining a stored procedure in the Azure SQL database? Purpose of defining stored procedure in the Azure SQL database to execute data transformation during copy activity. So the answer B is correct. Which step should be performed to handle column merging using a stored procedure? So define the table type and stored procedure in the database to perform the handle column merging using the stored procedure. Okay, the answer B is correct. Okay, thank you all for watching this particular video. So please subscribe my YouTube channel to do more videos and encourage me. If you have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the comment section. I'll respond to all your questions. Okay, thank you all. That's all.